So now we move into the next section. It's the top of the hour, so stretch yourself if you need to, invigorate yourself, and get ready for more learning. And I'm really pleased that our next session is being shared by Magdalena. And the topic is transforming conflict. And Magdalena, I'm so grateful that you're volunteering your time and your love to share the celebration with me here with the book launch. And just want to remind folks that the book launch is an opportunity to practice compassionate giving and receiving, either through purchasing the book or through a donation to CNBC. And at the end of this session, we'll make sure that we put the links in there. And in the meantime, I want you to have all the time. I want to find out what you have to offer. So please dive in, Magdalena.
Thank you so much, Jim. And I'm really excited and to be here and to celebrate with you this book launch, because Matrix really supports me in my journey. So I just want to share with you and explore with you the topic of conflict, and discover together how the conflict can be a source of connection and creativity. And a few words about me is like the most important thing here right now is that my journey started with my children. I became first-time mom, and I had no idea what to do in emotional ways. And when my daughter had like very big emotions, I had no idea what to do. So we tried timeout. And that little girl, she went to other room. I carried her to other room, and she came back to me crying and sobbing and saying like, I want to calm down, but I need you to do that. So at that time, my heart just knew that this is not the way for me, and this is not the way for her to support her and nurture her. And that was also like the experience of conflict of my needs and her needs. And then I just went for some workshops, and somebody mentioned some jackals and giraffes, and it was like, what's that thing is about? So I dive into it, and since then I'm the greatest fan. And so I want to share with you something about conflict today. So I will not share my screen yet, because I want to invite you to small guided meditation and just some grounding exercise. So if you just sit comfortably, you can close your eyes or keep them open, and just take a deep breath, and maybe let's just start with looking around. I love this exercise that I learned from you, Jim. So let's just look around and just notice that you are in a safe space, and then take a deep breath and allow your eyes to just wander around. And that exercise can help calm your amygdala and realize that you are safe, so you don't have to scan the environment all the time, so that you can just orient yourself and get grounded and get present. And now, when you have the sense of being a little bit grounded, I want to invite you to just close your eyes and realize that you are breathing being, and just focus on your breath for the next 1 minute or two. And then notice where do you feel your breath? Is it in your belly? Maybe it's in your chest. Maybe it's in your nostrils or in your throat. And wherever you feel it, just stay with that sensation for a few breaths. And now bring on presence to the word that I will be reading, and it's a poem of Rumi, one song. And just let the words sink into your heart, into your ears, and let them change you in any way. One song. Every war and every conflict between human beings has happened, because of some disagreement about names. It is such an unnecessary foolishness, because just beyond the arguing, there is a long table of companionship, set and waiting for us to sit down. What is praised is one, so the praise is one too. Many jugs being poured into a huge basin. All religions, all this singing, one song. The differences are just illusion and vanity. Sunlight looks a little different on this wall than it does on that wall, and a lot of different on this other one, but it is still the same light. We have borrowed this cloth, these time and space personalities from a light, and when we praise, we are pouring them back in. And just notice how this poem lands in your body. Allow yourself to go to the body and the sensations, and just notice how it feels. Is there a word that can describe those sensations? Are there any feelings that come to your mind that can name them? And what are the needs connected to those feelings? Take 2 or 3 more breaths, and then slowly come back to our group space. So welcome back, and I would like to invite a few voices just to share how did it land with you? Do you have any thoughts or comments? So Melina writes that she feels relaxed. Thank you, Magdalena. Thank you. Anybody else would like to share before we go to the next piece? And it will be helpful if you raise your electronic hands because you are on 4 screens, so I can't really follow otherwise. Feeling refreshed. Yeah, thank you for putting it in the chat. It's one song by Rumi. Yeah, so now I would like to invite you to my presentation, and would you let me know if you can see the presentation on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So now I want to invite you to think about conflict and like what conflict means to you. So what I want to invite you to do is just to think about like what image or metaphor would you use to represent conflict for you in your life. So, and the questions that could be supportive in this process would be like, what comes to mind when I hear the word conflict? How does my body feel when I think about conflict? How often do I experience conflict and what are my ways to deal with it? And how would I like to experience conflict in my life? So I would like to invite you to just think about it or write about it for 5 minutes. And then I want to invite you to breakout room to share with each other. How is that for you? And Lori, would you put that in the chat as well? So I will stop sharing now. If you need the instruction, they are in the chat. And yeah, I would like to invite you to go to breakout room in triads and just discuss with each other what came up for you, and then we will harvest together. Are there any questions before you go to the breakouts? Sarah Joy?
How much time do we have?
It will be 15 minutes. So like each person can like share for 5 minutes.
All right, I'm ready to open the rooms, 15 minutes with a 1-minute countdown. If you are in a room alone, I will notice it and I'll do my best to get you a partner. You can always come back to the main room and I'll help you out. My name's Lori, Tech Lori. Okay.
Oops.
Lori, my partner is not there.
Okay, let me see. Juliana, what room were you in?
I was with Dawn, but he was not there last breakout also. But I just stayed there alone, but did my own reflection.
And we can place you like so to have four people. That's also okay. It doesn't have to be triad.
Okay. I am looking for Juliana.
And there are a few people that just joined, so we are just doing a breakout room exercise.
I am Sirisha.
Would you like Sirisha to go to breakout room?
I would love to go, but anyone. Melina says she doesn't have a breakout room, so we can put both of us together.
All right, let me find an empty room.
Sorry.
Unassigned. I have not seen you, Juliana, in my control to be able to move you.
Oh, you need, next time I'll make sure I notice the room. I'm not sure what number it was.
This happened to me once before where I couldn't find you. Laura Brown asked for help in room 4.
Go to room 4 to help.
Thanks, Jen.
Hello, good morning. I'm Chuyin here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, sorry, I just joined. I just want to know, is this session?
Diana, I just moved you to room 12.
No, can I ask before that, is this session about transforming conflict?
Yes.
Okay.
And Lori, I'm in no breakout room to go to room 4.
If I were to join, can I just be observer or anything? Because I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Yeah, so we just had the guided meditation, and then we have questions to consider, like what conflict means to us. Like what image or metaphor would you use to represent conflict? And we just asked to discuss it with each other.
Okay.
And
so
the questions are also in a chat.
I could put you in room 2 if you'd like to join them.
Yes. Do you mind? Thanks a lot.
Lori, I too want to go to breakout room. I had some internet problem and I couldn't join.
Okay. Let me see if
I would like to join also.
Berma. I see you, Berma. I'm going to move you to room 3. You'll be a 4th person there. And Berna, I see you. You are in room 3, Berna. Okay, there you go. And Sharissa, I am looking for you. there you are. You're in room 21. I will move you to a different room. I'll move you to 19.
And Charles is alone there too.
And
So
I'll move him to 18. Anisha. Let's see where she's in a room by herself, I think, too. Rob Pierce not joined. But there's two.
Yeah, no, the phone number 8077, who that is? Okay, because yeah, they're in a room and with
Not
those two people. Yeah, and they weren't sure who it was, so that's all.
okay. Yeah, it shows that they're there, but maybe they stepped away from their phone.
Can you move them to no breakout?
Sure.
And if they somehow unmuted in the meantime, they'll come back and tell us, but I'm sure of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I'm going to move you to no breakout room and then unclick you if I can. Can't. Did I just send her? Yep.
maybe
Oops.
we can make her co-host.
Co-host. Yeah. She'll come back. There she is. Thanks for coming back. I
You're
thought I
welcome.
could move you to that room and then uncheck you, but no.
That's all right. It'll help so I don't get put in that room next breakout. So it's all good.
Can I make you co-host? Would that be helpful?
If you'd
Or
like. Doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to be.
you are now co-host. Anisha. Oh, I see. Donna didn't want to go. And Anisha, you wanted not to go to the breakout, I'm assuming. So I'll move you to no breakout. And same with Rob. I'll move you to no breakout. Magdalena, would you like the rooms to stay the same or would you like me to even them out to triads for the next time?
I'm not sure we will have next time.
Okay. We're good then.
And if we have, yeah, they can stay the same.
Dorothea.
We might have, I might send them to think about that one thing that they could do. So we'll
Okay.
see. If there is enough time, I would send them like for 5 minutes because it's just like to share it later together, but we'll see.
Okay. And Dorothea, I'm going to just check in with you. There are 7.5 minutes left. Would you like to go in a group with other people or would you like to stay here in the main room?
I would like to stay in the main room, please.
Okay, thank you. And Manjitha, where are you? Yep, you're fine.
The Claudia came as well. Hello,
Claudia.
Claudia, would you like to go to breakout room or would you like to stay here?
I'll stay here, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are now in the breakout. They are working on the question about what image or metaphor would you use to represent conflict? And there are some questions to consider and they are in the chat. So if you would like to journal about it, you are welcome to chat it.
I'll put it in the chat again.
I just did, Lori.
Oh, did you? You beat me.
I'm sorry. I took over. Imagine that.
You supported me.
I supported you. Yes.
Okay. Anisha.
Hi, Magdalena, Lori. I'm glad to be here and I'm just going to be listening in as I do my morning chores. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad that you joined. Hello, Canela. Welcome. Right now, people are in breakout room working on the question of what metaphor or image would you use to describe conflict? And I'm wondering if you would like to join breakout room or stay with us here in the main room. We can't hear you. You would have to unmute yourself.
You could say thumbs up for breakout room or no. Okay. Got it. 2 more people coming in, Mohammed and Nermeen. Welcome, Mohammed and Nermeen. There's 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes left.
So we are just working in a breakout on the question, what image or metaphor would you use to represent conflict? And the questions to consider in that process are also in the chat. So if you would like to journal about it or just think about it or feel into it, you are welcome to do so. My dog is under my chair. I'm scared to move because she's sleeping.
That's only if she's wagging her tail.
I thought maybe you said your daughter was under the chair sleeping, which that could also happen, I'm sure.
That could also happen, definitely.
A 1-minute countdown to returning. Some people will be back in 45 seconds.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm wondering how was your exploration, and who would like to share? You could just raise your hand and speak, or you can also write in chat. What did you discover, or what metaphors came to mind, and whatever came up. Vinita, would you like to share?
Yeah, so thank you. So what I think there was a question about the last question, which said, how would you like to experience conflict? And because for me, I mean, the very word conflict, it's like drops my body energy. I feel tightened. It's like, I mean, it's like, I don't want to be part of it. Like, that's how I kind of began. And my metaphor was like, the threads which get entangled, the wool or the thread. And the more you try to open them out, the more they get entangled. So that has been my own personal experience in relationship with conflict. But the insight that has come to me was the last one, that first the question said, how do you want to experience conflict? I don't want to experience, that was my, the spontaneous reaction. But then my sharing has just took me to a place where I realized that I need to create a neutral space in my life when I have a conflict, because when conflict happens, I'm so much into my needs and feelings that I have no space to listen to where the other person is, what his or her needs are, what their feelings are. And I just realized if I can create that, maybe a tiny small space which is neutral, which is not mine, which is just like, just to find out, what the other person is saying, that could be a beginning for me. So that was super exciting for me to just create the tiny space. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And just feeling like it's like a little bit like courting conflict, if I may say, like just like the first, the flirt with the conflict. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for your sharing, and I love your metaphor. It was very visual. And Juliana?
Yeah, so thank you, Magdalena. I so love the fact that conflict is a driver for change. And I was wondering, change in what direction? So it came to me that the direction of change was from deeper self-connection and deeper connection with the other person with whom I'm in conflict with, as I open to greater understanding as a result of it. And also creativity, use the word creativity, it's a change for more creativity. And that opened up for me as more opening myself to more possibilities of understanding other people rather than my own perspective and my own, point of view. So thank you so much for this insight.
Thank you, Juliana. And anybody else would like to share? I would read something from the chat. A beautiful connection. So like somebody wrote, I liked Sequoia. I like practicing asking these questions, hands-on experience with a person in real time. Sanjita wrote, beautiful connections always happen in the breakout rooms with open-hearted sharings from each other. Ching Ching wrote, I can see that it's quite natural for us to avoid the conflict, yet we can experience conflict as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to understand ourselves and the other person better. GT writes, I want to stop avoiding conflict, but not sure how. Patrice writes that I would like resiliency and trust that I can reach to my inner resources, either in the moment or during a do-over. And I would go to Margaret now. Would you like to share your experience?
Yeah, the person in the chat who said the opportunity to learn and grow and learn more about the other person. But I also think it's an opportunity for each of us to learn, because I'd shared in my breakout room that a lot of conflicts arise because we have a certain point of view that we fixed in our mind as the right point of view. And if we come to someone who has a different point of view, and argue, there's conflict. But if we are listening with an open-hearted willingness to hear the other person, then we can learn something different. And it may actually be life-changing for us, because we may find something that we weren't aware of. So that openness, we learn as well. So conflict can be a real growing thing. But my tendency has always been to avoid it. But since MVC, I'm starting to embrace it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And Robin?
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. With the breakout rooms, amazing. I just had a thought, and that is that what I perceive of conflict is, this place of difference or opposition. I don't think that's actually the problem. It's where we go into the story space, into the jackal space. We try and deal with our conflict or the issues or the differences in that jackal space. It's too late. That's not the space for it. The stories are flying about, and so that becomes all of that is. So I think when we're talking about our resistance to conflict, we're actually talking about the resistance to the sort of this messy pile of shit we have to kind of wade through before we can actually get to the nub of what is really going on here and what's really important for both of us or all of us. Get out of this idea that there is never one answer. That's, for me, what the heart of MVC is strategies galore, but where do we connect? And that's the important bit. And how do we get to that place of connection first, so we can explore, as Margaret just said, listen and learn and understand, and then together we go on a path of the strategy building or actions or asks, or maybe nothing else has to happen. Maybe it's done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Yeah, so this is like very important part of so how to recover from our reactivity and how to be present to reactivity of others and be able to still see their feelings and needs behind their reactive reaction. Yeah, so this is what NVC offers, many tools to kind of do that with self-empathy and empathy. And I will not go to that today so much because I want to focus on the conflict. So I would like to move on to continue the presentation. So for me, the journey of my understanding of conflict was like very, with many bumps on the way, and it's a process. So like many times I just I moved from seeing conflict as something that I want to avoid at any cost to actually a metaphor of my metaphor for conflict that came to me when I thought about it, is like holding a circle space where everyone brings a gift of something that is very precious and dear to their heart, and places it in the middle of that circle for everyone to see, so that it's about revealing our truth. And there can be some nervousness about it, of course, because like we are sharing something very important, but there is also trust in that. And that circle represents like a sacred space where curiosity and openness can create connection that can arise from the conflict. And what came to me is that like this tribal dance, it can be loud, it can be like very energetic, it can be like lots of energy, like music, and this like sometimes being in conflict and anger, it's like having so much energy. But this energy is transformed to closeness and getting to know each other even more. So this is my conflict metaphor that came to me. And from what you all were sharing today, we can see like different levels kind of looking at the conflict. So, and if we look at the transforming conflict skill, is basically using our conflict with others as a means to connect and create strategies that work for everyone. So we can see that what you have shared here is that we start with unskilled level, which is that we are either afraid of the conflict or we are addicted to conflict, that we are just in conflict all the time. And so we are attached to our opinions, we are attached to strategies, we are attached to judgments, we are taking sides, and the energy that is crashing together, it's just like a huge explosion. But then there is a moment that we are starting to awaken, and we start to become aware of our own reactive patterns. So from this hot energy that is just pouring out of us, we are able to kind of like stop ourselves, take a deep breath, and just notice like, oh wow, what is happening inside of me? So we can notice that that we are just in the reactive moment. And I had a situation like that. I was practicing some meditation of being just present to my like energy and my feelings, and I was in some kind of conflict with my husband, and I had a moment where I was like, if I say what I'm going to say right now, that will not bring anything good, but I did say it anyway, because I was just like so attached to being right and to just share my truth. And of course it didn't end well as I had that thought. So that was my becoming aware of this skill. And then more we practice self-empathy, more we practice like coming back to conflict afterwards, even doing some journaling, going to workshops, doing some healing work. We are becoming more capable of being able to use this skill with effort. So it's like when we want to build something, we really need to focus. We really need to pay attention, but we are able to actually have our needs and others people's needs, having them and holding them as important. And we can have some creativity, we can be resourceful in solving conflict. And I noticed that when my children started to grow up, I have 3 kids, and they are 9, 6, and 3 at the moment. And when the older ones, they started to argue, before I knew NVC, it was like I would just come and judge like who did what and just solve their problems. And I can see that now, if I am not really triggered by the conflict, or if it's not my conflict, I am able to kind of come and be able to share with, help them notice each other's needs and help them find solutions that will work for both of them. So, but it takes sometimes effort and like and holding my reactivity and my triggers from my own childhood. And like putting them aside and thinking, okay, I will take care of that later. This is about them here. And then we have if we practice that a lot, and of course it's like, even if we are sometimes showing up with integrated skills, there is a moment later that we are just completely exploding, because this is a process and it depends. Our ability to show up in conflict, it really depends on many things, like depends on how resourced we are, how our body is nourished. It really starts with like physical sensations, like if we are tired or not, or if we are hungry or not. So there are like many different things that influence the outcome. But so when we are integrated, it's like we have just in our body, so we can just easily access this. It is skill, and we have openness and curiosity and creativity to see the conflict as expanding our own awareness and take effective action. And I had a moment like that when I was in my coaching training, and my coach trainer, she shared some of her truth about like that she was triggered by people who are having like more kids than 2, because it's like she was more kids than 2 because it's like she really cared about Earth, and she really wanted people to be conscious about like what resources we have, and that was somehow discussion that she had. And I noticed that I was in an exercise and I was completely triggered by what she was saying, because my third child was just sleeping in a bedroom. But at the same time, I was like, wow, this is really amazing to see her perspective, and like to see that she sees things differently, and like, and there was of course dialogue, and like her strategy kind of transformed. But at that moment, I was triggered, and at the same time, I was able to be curious about her world and like expand my awareness about like, wow, I never thought about it. It just never even clicked in me. So that's where it kind of showed in my world. So basically, the journey is from being unskilled, awakening, capable, and integrated. And of course, after I did this little graph, I thought that it rather should be scribble, like coming back to different places, and it should be much more messy than this small drawing shows. So I'm wondering, what do you think are your ideas to support befriending conflict? Like, so what could support us in going through that transformation journey and going from avoiding conflict to really be able to see the conflict as a source of life and connection? So what do you think would be, you can put some ideas in the chat.
Just the idea that conflict is really unavoidable. If we're human and we work with other humans or live with them, we can't avoid conflict. So it's best to get used to it. Get good at it.
Yeah. Ching Ching, she asked about unskilled slide. Would you still like to see it? I can also place that presentation in the chat for you to download if you would like.
Thank you so much, Magdalena.
Okay.
You want me to do that for you, Magdalena?
Yeah, I just created PDF. Do you have PDF?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Magdalena, you just put a slide about what would help and you took it off so fast.
Yeah, because I thought we could first discuss together, but yeah, I can put it here and just go over it.
Just for a minute.
Yeah, so this is like never ending list. So because we can be creative and like different things work for different people, but I think in my experience, like just practicing being present to what is like one of the key skill to befriend our conflict, because in the moments where we are reactive, it is much harder. But like when we are practicing presence, this present of and noticing what is happening in our body, connecting to feelings and needs. So like practicing self-empathy, having clarity about our intention. Like if we are in the conflict and our intention is our intention to connect or to co-create, or is the intention to be right and to make sure that somebody just see our truth, but we don't have space for their truth. And also like noticing patterns of our reactivity, doing like maybe generational trauma work, understanding and healing them can be very supportive. We could do like jackal journaling about thoughts that we have around different situations. We can also like revisit beliefs about conflict and see if that beliefs that we inherited from our family members or from other people's, are they serving us? And maybe we would like to create a belief that serve us better. And of course, processes like self-empathy and self-forgiveness, and mourning the moments where we didn't show up the way we want to, and seeing the needs behind our actions can be very supportive. Of course, creativity in creating different strategies and ideas can be also very good. And nurturing this openness and kind of open-minded approach, I can't find the word in English, but just like nurturing our openness to others, to the differences, and kind of like seeing the differences as a gift to us, that they can support us in some ways. Yeah, so I'm wondering if you have like something that I didn't share here and you would like to share and inspire others to do that. Juliana? You are muted.
You're muted.
No, I was just appreciating and thanking you so much for whatever you had put up there. Yeah, especially this one about self-empathy, self-love, mourning the times, when we don't do what we want to, and finding the needs of the other person in the conflict, which are mostly also my needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliana. And Sarah Joy?
I appreciate the multiple examples that you gave, and especially the respecting the differences of others. And I came up with a metaphor that kind of works for me in terms of an orchestra. When orchestra is tuning up, everybody's doing their own thing, and some people are really loud, and it sounds pretty terrible. But once they start going, each instrument has matters and values, and if they're playing louder, it's meant to be louder because of the whole piece is unified and everybody respects that, what they're playing, and it's very beautiful when it's all together. And so for me, instead of running and avoiding conflict, I'm trying to reface some of the areas where I have done that and to use my tools now in MVC to consider the feelings and needs and to notice where things I feel are different are really just an illusion of being different in terms of people's values. Maybe I have those values, but at a different time, maybe, or those needs, but I'm not experiencing them in the moment, and just kind of valuing and respecting each person for what they're going through in the moment and trying to be more present with things that are uncomfortable for me.
Thank you so much for your sharing. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And I really love the metaphor or orchestra, yes. So I want to invite you for a last 2-3 minutes. After our session together, I'm wondering what is the one thing that you can do in a coming week that would move your conflict patterns into the direction you long for. And if you would like to just put it in the chat and share, or just raise your hand and share it with your voice, I would appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm hearing answers. Ching Ching, would you like to share? And I will stop sharing now so that we can all see you.
Thank you. For me, I think one thing that it could help, it might be after before the conflict happens, if I can appreciate the value behind the conflict, and if I can see how it helps me grow from yesterday to today or to tomorrow. I think it would help me to be more courage to confront with the conflict better. If I can appreciate the outcome after the conflict solved by self-connection, by empathy, I think it would help me a lot to see how conflict be my friend, to get to walk along with the journey together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm hearing that the gratitude for the conflict and what it brought you could be helpful. And Margaret?
Thanks very much for this class. It's really made me think a lot about conflict, and I hadn't thought about a limiting belief that I might have about conflict that makes me avoid it. And that was a real wake-up moment for me. So that's what I'm going to look at this next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margaret. And Ahmad?
I'm preoccupied now with the idea that the matrix as a whole is like a journey I am taking inside my brain from the oldest one, the lizard brain, to the prefrontal or the frontal part, which is a very, very, very human brain. So if you screen the 28 skill, we find that the lowest one lies here in the lizard brain. And when you are integrating, and this part particularly is a part of integration in the brain. And to solve for this part of the conflict, I would like to bring my resources, all the qualities in the frontal part, to be courageous, patient, contemplating, insight, something like that. So when I get my resources, I can impress the conflicts. I hope that Jem is there, and I would like to write sometime about the book in a neuroscientific way. Each of the concepts I can see its place in the brain.
Yeah, I love that you brought neurobiology. It's really dear to my heart, and yeah, like, so when we see the journey, it's like a journey from our reactive brain to
Yes.
prefrontal cortex. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us tonight and doing the work together. And it looks like our time just came up. So thank you so much. And in a few minutes, there will be presentation of Anisha Pandya, and she will be offering session focusing on sharing power titled Up and Down, Exploring Power, Rank, and Privilege. And I'm wondering, Jim, if you would like to share about fundraising, or you would like me to do that?
Yes, thank you. First, thank you so much for volunteering your time to share with us. I really enjoyed being here. I especially loved your PowerPoint presentation and the way you mixed words with images, and that you actually spoke from your own experience as you shared what was on the slide. And usually I find myself disconnecting with PowerPoints, but with you, I was really engaged. And I love that somebody agreed with me too, that somebody else really liked your images, that they really brought the concepts alive. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Jim, so much.
And we got 2 minutes till the next thing. I see that Lori has already put the links into the chat. So I'll trust that you will read them and follow your heart to practice compassionate giving and receiving as you see fit. And I'd love to offer you a whole minute of stretching and resting until we get started with Anisha in just a few minutes. So we'll start again at the very top of the hour here, bottom of the hour in India. So we'll be right with you in about 1 minute. I'm going to turn the recording off so I can restart it again.